Guys, I'm just here to do another video of my latest junk journal kits. So I'm going to try and do two in this video. So the first one is a stuffed paper bag. The bag is just one of the brown paper bags from a health food shop that we have here called Holland & Barrett. And I've just literally embellished it. I'm just going to try and raise the tripod a bit. I'm not sure whether it'll go any higher. And I've just embellished it a bit. So all your goodies would be contained inside the paper bag. So on the front of the bag you've got a layered up image. This is the printable here, layered onto scrapbook paper and some vintage sheet music. Then there's just a kind of paper and lace flower that's just been glued onto the bag, and then with a bulb pin there's one of these Hessian or burlap with some lace buttons embellishments there, and that's just held on with a bulb pin, so can be obviously taken off and popped onto your pages of your journals. Then you've just got some lace, some fabric trim, sorry, and then some lace trim here down the side, lace trim across the top, and then just a little bow. And then on the back of the bag is some sheet music which has been doubled over and made a pocket there. It's got some fabric trim at the bottom with some pearls, and then you've got an altered paper clip. So this is the first item, is the altered paper clip. Obviously the bag can be deconstructed as well, so you can use obviously all the different bits off of the bag, but they don't actually class as one of your 20 items. So the altered paper clip, it's just some lace trim and then some doily there, not doily, sorry, some fabric trim and lace trim on the paper clip. And then here is one of those little cute pads that's just been kind of made from little coffee stained papers, and that's just been stitched on the sewing machine with some lace trim at the top and a little fabric birdcage stamped image. Then you've got a couple of fabric ruffles. These are kind of in dark brown sort of corded fabric, and they've been stitched on the sewing machine, and then they've just got a tiny bit of cardstocky paper to just make them kind of more rigid, obviously because they're in the pack. And then there's another one there, same colour, but this time it's got some lace trim also attached to it, and again just that on the back. So you've got two of those. And then you've got a little coin envelope, just been stitched on the sewing machine in some coffee stained paper, fabric image, and some more fabric at the back of that. And then inside there are a couple of images here. One is a little chipboard tile of a butterfly that's been distressed with some scrapbook paper, and then this little fabric embellishment there that's been stitched onto some Hessian, and that's also been Mod Podged at the back to just kind of make that Hessian kind of much more rigid. And then you've got a little envelope, again coffee dyed paper, that's been stitched on the sewing machine. There's some lace on there as well. And then inside there is just a little pull-out tag, and also a little transparency film stamped image there, that I quite like these on journal pages, just kind of either staple or glue them on, and they look quite nice just on pages like that. Hopefully you can see I'm getting some glare through the window, but I didn't know where to do the video really because it's obviously quite dark days now. So that's those couple of images, those couple of items. I can actually get it back into the envelope, there we go. And they obviously just go into the pocket. And then you've got a fabric flower here. It's just some lace that's also been coffee stained, and then it's got some glitter. It's got a little kind of metal embellishment and a pearl centre. It's got a feather, and then on the back it's just got some felt to kind of make a centre for it. And that's just attached with a bulb pin, so could easily be taken off obviously for your embellishments and journals. And then inside the bag there is a large chipboard tile, which it's been covered with distressed scrapbook paper. It's got a stamped image and then some script stamping around the edge, and then it's got a mulberry flower on the bottom. Then there's one of the Tim Holtz rosettes, and that's just been distressed, and then it's got a chipboard centre of a stamped image of a clock. And then here is a tag of, it's got some sheet music, then it's been backed onto some cardstock, and then it's got a decoupage napkin image and some lace trim at the bottom. And then here, these are the laminated images. I love using these. I think they're really kind of versatile. So this is like a floating pocket, or obviously it could be stuck into your journal. So, you know, the back is just got the stitch in and the coffee stain paper. So you could either glue it in and obviously use it as a pocket on the page when I found it like that, or else obviously you could use it as a floating pocket and move it about your journal, kind of clip it on maybe with the paper clip or something onto your pages. You know, quite versatile. So it's got the principal, and then it's been laminated into the laminating sheets, and it's been stitched onto the doubled over scrapbooking paper to make it kind of more sturdy. And then it's got some lace trim down the side. Then there's a little booklet, and this is all just coffee dyed paper that's just been stitched on the sewing machine to make a little fold out book. And then on the front it's got some coffee stained fabric images from some fabric that I had, and some more paper and lace trim down the side. Then there's a tag here, which is just basically coffee stained cardstock. It's got one of those like what I had on the front, the burlap with the buttons. Quite like those, I think they look quite pretty on the pages. And then some script stamped down the side, and the back's left plain obviously for journaling. And then here there's a fabric pocket or tag. I would probably use it as a pocket. I would just kind of glue it round here and obviously stick it onto the page, and then obviously use it like a pocket like that. So it's basically, it's fabric, and then it's got a stamped image of this postcard, and that's all been stitched onto it, and some lace trim as well. Okay, so that's kit number 1. There's 20 items, plus obviously the bag that can all be deconstructed and used as well. And then quickly I'm going to show you the second kit here. So again, this is another stuffed bag. Really enjoying making these at the moment. So this one has been again layered up with a principal and some sheet music, some scrapbook paper. It's got lace trim down the bottom, and then here is some kind of tissue paper. Well, it's from a hotel where they have, you know, those kind of coasters that are made from tissue, and then on the back they've got greaseproof paper. So I've kind of peeled the tissue off so it's gluable, and I'll use the greaseproof paper in some other projects. But thought that was quite nice. And then you've just got a label here. It's got some ribbon going round, tied in a bow, and then on the top it's just got some lace trim, and then it's got fabric flower with a pearly centre. That's glued on, but obviously could be peeled off or picked off or cut off, you know, to use on your scrapbook pages. And then there's another fabric flower here that's held with a bulb pin, so obviously this can just be unpinned and used for your scrapbook pages. And then on the back it's got again the vintage sheet music making a large pocket on the back. It's got some more lace trim making a belly band, and some more lace trim at the bottom forming another pocket. So it's also got another handmade fabric flower that again it's been glued on but could be easily peeled off and used on your pages. So in the bottom pocket there is a little coffee stained paper booklet, and that's just got a decoupaged rose on there. And then here you've got one of those little flip pad books things made from some scraps of paper, and then it's got a printable on the front. It's just been stitched on the sewing machine and got some lace trim on the top. And then here there's some coffee stained paper that's just been stitched on the sewing machine to form this little envelope, and then it's got a printable on there saying bonjour, with a little flap there. It's got some lace, and then inside here it's just got a little journaling tag. That's that. And then up here there's a stamped image here, and I've actually used some Tim Holtz distress pens that I've kind of watered down a little bit. Probably the camera probably won't pick it up, but just to add some very, very pale pink onto that tree. And this one here, this is kind of a flap. It's got this ribbon tied around it. The ribbon, about that, my memory card then was full. I don't seem to have a great deal of luck with the camera. Right, anyway, so yeah, this ribbon can obviously be just slid off if you didn't want it. I thought it was quite nice on there. But this is a fold-in flap, so I would kind of glue it down here, and that obviously would help with attaching the ribbon as a permanent feature as well. So I would maybe pop some glue underneath the ribbon to attach it, then glue all over here and stick it onto the page, and then you've got a fold back flap. Obviously, if you didn't want it as a flap, you can just cut it here at the fold, and then you've got just a tag or a pocket, you know, however you wanted to use it really. So that's that item there. And then on the top of the bag, it's just got some lace trim and a bow. And then inside this one, just check I've got everything out. There are, you've got a little clip that obviously was clipping that little fabric bag on. So you've got a little sheet music tag that's got some decoupage napkin. It's got some lace on the corner, and it's been stitched on the sewing machine with this stamped image of this calendar. That's made a pocket, and there's a tiny tag there that goes in. Then you've got decoupage napkin onto some cardstock. It's got some script stamping, and again the back I've left plain other than this corner stamp just for journaling. And then again another one of those floating pockets. So this again is a printable that's then been laminated and then stitched around, and you've got some lace trim. And then inside there is a stamped image of a postcard onto just some coffee stained cardstock, and that just obviously can go in there. Obviously if you didn't want that particular tag in there, you wouldn't have to. I just thought that one was quite good in there. And then you've got this Hessian kind of pocket here, which I have made it much more rigid, and obviously so it doesn't fray around the edges by covering it with Mod Podge. And then I've Mod Podged on this kind of buff coloured image, which has got a decoupage napkin, not that you can really particularly see it now, and it's got some various stamping. So that's been glued onto there. Then there's some ribbon trim, and then this decoupage napkin onto book page, layered up with some scrapbook paper, and a tiny butterfly that's been layered up with also some book pages. That's been glued on there. And this is loose, so this is kind of a belly band on here. So if I just show you kind of what I mean. So I would use this as a pocket on my page. So if this was your page, I would obviously glue it around here at the bottom and the sides, glue it on, and then you've got top loading pocket here, and then you've also got a belly band here. So it would be kind of a multiple pocket. So that's that. That's that item. And then here, finally, there's some tiny items here. So I've just made this little fabric bag by just literally gluing it kind of together. And this is in some vintage fabric, and all the lace is vintage as well. That's all vintage things. So here's a printed stamped image of a typewriter. This, I think, a Tim Holtz one. And it's on just some coffee stained cardstock, which actually this cardstock was all pearlised on the back. And then there's a stamped image of a hot air balloon, and then some binoculars there from the Tim Holtz ones as well. And then here there's just one of those layered up butterflies, which this time it's been layered up with the sheet music, and it's in this lovely green colour, and it's been distressed. And then you've got this little stamped image here of this vintage kind of Parisian advert, and then you've got some chipboard tiles, trying to kind of keep the kits coordinated. So these ones here, and they've all been glossy accented and distressed and what have you, and then they're just obviously plain chipboard on the back. And this one's actually a wooden tile. This is a little heart that's been glossy accented. It's got a tiny bird, if you can see that or not. And that's just a wooden one. And then you've got two little fabric stamped onto fabric and then stitched onto the burlap, and then again I've just Mod Podged around the edge to make them a bit more or less prone to fraying. So 20 items in total, obviously not including the bag, which, you know, or this fabric bag, which has got obviously further bits and bobs that could be deconstructed and pulled off and used on your projects as well. So I hope you liked my kits, and they'll be obviously up for purchase on my Etsy store. So thanks for watching.